When you are going to put a collage or photo montage or assemblage together for the last time, you have to work from the back to the front. So start with that background paper, whatever is going to be behind everything else, and then I like to make a couple piles. Um, so the first pile is the background, the things that go behind everything else, um, that in the end I barely even see, but that I have to put down first. And then I make a pile of the middle ground things or things that will kind of tuck in between things. And my last pile is those objects that are going to be right on the top that I want above everything else. Those are often the things that will be the most noticeable and the things that we think of first when we think of our artwork. But because they have to be on top, we actually have to glue them last. So it's kind of thinking backwards, but make those piles. And that way, when you're gluing, you just focus on one pile, glue down that background, then switch to your middle, glue all that down, and then focus on those details that are the foreground very last. When you are done with your collage, you may have some areas to trim. So um, on the edges, it's really easy because you just go along the edge of your background paper. So things that are just hanging over a little bit, you just trim off there like that. A little trickier though is if you have whole sections that you don't want. Like I didn't do anything towards the top of my background paper, so I need to trim that off. And then I don't want this cypress tree. I want it to come down here. So one way to do that is to flip your paper over and draw those lines on and cut along those. You can also just eyeball it and hope that you're cutting in a straight line. But usually when you think you're going to be great at that, you're not. So now I have trimmed the top and the sides, and even though collage and photo montage and assemblage is mostly about the gluing things together, it's always good to take a peek and see if there's any other details you want to add. I am going to add some grass to this graph paper so that the grass that's behind it blends through that paper, and I might paint some kind of swirls in the clouds that I think will mimic the circular shapes of the bubble wrap. And I think I'm going to whitewash, which just means use thin white paint to go over some of these words that I don't necessarily need showing.